Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley and we're going to be doing a Medieval 2 battle. This is actually going to be a siege battle where it's going to be Scotland, 3 Scottish armies, and England leading the charge. So we're all going to be holding out against an assault from multiple nations, and here we decide to sally forth with a bunch of these mailed Scottish knights and leading them some feudal English knights moving forward. You can see some of the enemy forces already starting to pepper our lines. But here comes our awesome sally. We'll go ahead and take a look at the rest of the battlefield in a second. I just wanted to show you the glorious charge of our cavalry as they move up. Let's watch a little bit of this charge, and we decided to coordinate right before the battle started that we were going to lance out towards this force positioned here. You can see the enemy forces were positioned all around the city itself, the fortified city. And here we're going to strike it. And I'm going to put this on pause just so we can cover it. So the forts over here is going to be Spain. They had 2 catapults firing at our walls, and they did not expect this all-out assault from 3 players coming out of the inside. Their crossbowmen are out of position. Their spear militia are going to just now start to reform, but here comes the heavy English knights. We'll get back to the charge real briefly. I am at the same time sending forward a lot of the Highland rabble, very cheap troops, but actually pretty good in large numbers, and some of these spear militia. The rest of the fortress is pretty well staffed. A lot of our units are going to be waiting towards the inside of the keep, a lot of infantry here. Then we have a French force moving up into position, this time 4 catapults, so he's looking to rock and roll against the wall here, already starting to pepper it. We have 1 unit of Highland archers there to defend. The other front over here is going to actually have a bunch of siege towers. This is going to be led by, I believe, a Hungarian force moving in, and they have a lot of dismounted feudal knights, so pretty hefty guys that might be able to beat some of our guys. A lot of archers as well, so they're going to be pressing the assault. Even more peasants manning the towers, pushing here. We decided to put a couple guys up on the wall while the rest are going to be sort of further back, waiting for the enemy to penetrate. And then the last force is going to be pushing up here. Again, more of our units stationed up on the front, some Galloglaze, Highland archers, and this is going to be the Sicilian force kind of pushing into the center. And I really love these castles. They are so beautiful. I can't wait till they do a Medieval 3. Anyways, let's go back and join the charge that's going on here now that you have a little bit of context for what's going on. So we figured we decided that we would lash out to one force and then take it from there. We wouldn't sit idly inside of our fortress. We are not some to be cowards. And so here comes the massive assault down the front. English knights charging into these Spanish foot troops, and they're going to start to halt us a little bit with their spears. However, you can see more of the Scottish knights, the nobility, starting to reform, more of them rallying behind. This just reminded me a little bit of the scene from Braveheart where the Scottish knights aren't really sure what to do. They pretend to leave the battlefield and they come back in numbers and they defeat the enemy force. But in this case, they're working with the English against a common enemy. So here we go, charging forward, getting a flank. And you can see the enemy force is trying to retreat. I'm running in parallel with them. They're not going to be getting away. And here comes the main enemy general. He's going to be leading actually some of his peasant crossbowmen, trying to reform in the distance. We're starting to break these guys. Some of my rabble has now been thrown into the mix, and they're actually going to be tearing these spearmen apart now that these spearmen have been attacked by the cavalry. And here comes a nice assault straight into some knights who tried to save their lord as the lord tries to make his escape. You can see him running into the sunset pretty much. Some of the crossbowmen are going to try to turn about, but just one knight breaks an entire unit here. So this has been absolutely effective, just destroying these guys. The rabble is going to be cleaning off the rest of these guys as they retreat into the highlands themselves. More of my rabble charging out, very quick troops as well. Excellent for cleaning up post-cavalry charge messes. And that's it. We basically knocked out the Spanish player. However, over here on this front, the Sicilian force has actually punched through the gate, and that is where we're sending some of our forces. Some of our two of my own spear militia have been doing the complete envelopment of this force. I was trying to cut them off and prevent aid from Sicily. Sicily, in the meantime, is pushing up through here. It doesn't look like they have many units because most of them are hidden in the woods. They have punched through the gate. They're going to try and charge through. We're going to meet them with Galloglaze. Let's go ahead and watch this confrontation over here. The peasants pushing the towers have done their job. However, one of the towers you can see already went down. We burned it to a nice little crisp And now they've docked, and the peasants are going to move out of position. They're going to make room for more veteran forces to make their approach. And a lot of our guys still sitting up here are going to be peppering some of the peasants, so wasting a little bit of their ammo. Pretty good move on our opponent's part. And they also have some catapults focusing fire on our towers right there. Speaking of catapults, on the other side of this massive fortress, which looks amazing, is going to be the other main contingent of catapults. And there we go, they've broken a hole through the wall over here, so the French are going to start probing their way through this crack. Yes, the French are doing what the French like to do, probing cracks. I make that joke with all knowledge that I am French anyways, so yeah, and then they're gonna probe this crack as well. They're very proby. But yeah, their force is going to consist of a lot of these peasant crossbowmen, 4 sets of these catapults, so that's 8 in total, and then a lot of these dismounted feudal knights. Let's actually watch a little bit of this go underway, just because if it's a siege, we might as well watch some of this go under, some of the fire go.
The enemy general flees like the coward he is.
Boom.
Press onward and break the spirit
I always
of his
prefer
army.
the trebuchet shots, they just look so much cooler. So there you go, they're going to be making another breach in our walls. We're going to try and plug that relatively soon. However, on this front, we're continuing to just mop up a lot of these forces. Our charge over on this side has been absolutely brutal. Most of our knights are stained in blood, but they're recovering. We did go down to some, 14 units, 25 units here, 3 units there, but at the exchanging an entire army for just some knights, definitely worth it. And my rabble and spearmen are definitely still raking in the kills. The Sicilian force tried to push up through here, however they got caught on a counter assault from our mailed knights that came in charge against the Sicilian player. He did push through the gates, however he's fighting our Gallo-Glaives and Highlanders up on this front, so he may win this in the long run, but we are able to hold out long enough to have our mailed knights and other units come in from the back of our flanking operation, strike these guys in the rear, so this force is held somewhat at bay. Meanwhile, over here, the rest of the army is now repositioning. Let's not miss this, tower full of these Hungarian feudal knights. They're going to be cramming this tower. Ooh, it looks like we actually captured the enemy general.
Guard them well, so we can watch us defeat the rest.
But yeah, like I said, we're just kind of standing here. The Gallo-Glaives, very heavy axe units, just waiting to take a bite out of these guys. I'm also waiting for that to come down. I do have some Highlanders here. Okay, here we go. Here comes the assault. And I have some archers in the back, and they seem to be peppering both of us, so not doing too well for themselves. But here we go. Now the action has been joined. And now the knights, it's kind of funny, this animation. Charging into the walls. It looks like they've flattened. They're crushing through our men. Holy crap. Yeah, the armor differential on this is pretty crazy.
Our men have slain the
But
enemy
meanwhile,
general.
I mean, we have strength in
Without
numbers.
him,
We've killed
his troops
or
will
captured
lose their
2
will
generals
to
right now.
fight.
So it's all down to Hungary and France, it seems. More Gallo-Glaives urging those guys on. However, they're going to push this wall. I mean, look at this sea of archers putting pressure on the towers. They're going to clear this wall. So I think they're making pretty good pressure here. They're going to be taking out a lot of our guys up on the walls. The low armor for these Scots is really going to bite them in the arse. So yeah, there you go. They're going to be making a lot of headway, plus the catapults. They're going to break through this, so we're going to have to try and gain advantages elsewhere, which is what we're doing over here. I decided to push out with one of my Highland archers, a bit suicidal, but just to try and taunt the French into a little bit of a charge. So there you go, I moved up, and I decided...
The walls have fallen. Steel and valiant hearts
I decided to just start peppering them because I saw that they're doing damage and they're readying themselves for an assault. So I figured, let's go bugger them. So I have my guys stationed here, and they're starting to take a lot of crossbow fire. So we decided to start pulling back. The religious fanatics are inbound, and I'm actually going to counteract that, I believe, with cavalry.
Our cowardly foe runs. It is time to press.
So here we go, pulling back, drawing the French into this type of battle. I did lose a lot of archers in the process, but I was able to exchange, a couple for a couple crossbowmen there. But man, they're doing a lot of damage on this front, so that's why we're shifting a lot of our forces over here. And keep in mind, we do have a bunch of reserves, plus some of these archers here unleashing. Oh, it looks like we have some Sherwood archers as well. Very, very good positioning on those guys. They have extreme range, and they're going to be picking off these fanatics from a distance. Yeah, so warding the French off. But here comes the main French line. A lot of armored sergeants, and these guys are heavily armored. dismounted feudal knights seem to be doing a lot of damage against us, especially, oh my god, look how many feudal knights they have. So we definitely have to pucker up for this this assault. We're shifting more guys. I'm moving my Highlanders, more units away from this side of the battlefield where I know we're potentially going to lose, but at least, you know, they're going to have to go past these archers. So I'm losing the walls, but I have enough guys here to just hold them up a little longer and then do more damage. You can see a lot of the dead bodies here. But here comes the rest of the troops. However, they're going to funnel up our walls very, very slowly. In the meantime, the Sicilian force here has been absolutely destroyed. We killed them at the gates. You can see our guys starting to reform. The rest of them have been routed out of the woods, and now the rest of our forces are coming up from the cleanup of the Spanish force. So we've been actually very, very successful, and unbeknownst to the French on the other side of the battlefield, their allies here have been absolutely cleaned up. So now we're going to be reforming, sending our guys around here. At this point, this is kind of it that's left of our noble assault. And we're going to try and throw this on the flank of the Hungarian force, but he is not stupid enough to fall for that. He's going to reposition a lot of archers and just kind of keep us off the flank and maybe try and push through this. So I'm going to try and skirt around that side. Let's go back to see what's happening over on this front. We're shuffling more troops. Everyone is rendezvousing at the breach. The French catapults are going to be bombarding this position, taking out some of our archers, but more importantly, starting to target some of the knights and general units that we had there. So we're going to be exchanging. These are the same guys we saw earlier. They're going to be taking a beating. A couple of catapult shots, just barely missing my guys. Good thing I moved out of position. Now I'm going to prepare for an assault. I'm going to push myself right up against the walls. We have a lot of layered defenses, so we should be good on that end. Here comes the penetration of the enemy force through this section of the wall. They've cleared our defenses, and now they're going to start streaming into the open ground. In the open ground, however, you can see our Highlanders and other archers in the distance are going to start peppering these guys. So they won a victory there, and mostly they're going to have a lot of guys over here to ward us off. Hammer and anvils over here to try and reduce their numbers, but at the end of the day, they're going to be able to destroy us. So we're going to be forced to retreat back into the city, or at least pull away on this side of the battlefield while they make their toehold there. Now let's go back to this side of the fight. The English knights lent themselves to an assault here when the French weren't looking. We decided to charge forward with our knights. I followed up with the Highlanders, and now we're going to be engaging the crossbowmen who are too exposed. That's going to sort of trigger the main French infantry line to try and engage. Looks like they have more dismounted feudal knights. Everyone is getting pulled into this fight. Pretty awesome sight that we're seeing here. Catapults flinging shots over there into the city, destroying the towers. Knights moving in, and in the face of this, boom, they destroyed our tower. Pretty brutal. My Highlanders are going to start to engage. I'm just charging them in here. Want to get these guys caught up and start doing damage. And then we're going to pull the rest of our guys. Gallo Glace, like I said, the heavy infantry, allow them to take a chunk out of these religious fanatics. There we go, charging to these guys. Even though these guys are religious fanatics, God's not really going to save them from these huge axes. So we should be chopping through those guys. Some of my knights actually taking some point-blank fire, but I'm going to send these guys headlong into the mailed knights. So we're doing everything to blunt the French assault here. They're going to continue to press forward. They do have some units that are going to try and push through here, but at the same time, we've done enough delaying tactics. Sending some Highlanders in here, we've been able to break some of these guys. Our units are going to start to rout, but at least it's drawing fire from crossbowmen who are going to end up shooting some of their own men. So here comes the retreat, pulling back into the city. But that excursion was not without its toll on the enemy. You can see them here disorganized, and they believe that they have the advantage here. They're going to try and chase us back into the city itself. I pulled back over here. You can see our Galloglaze pulled back a little bit at a distance. I'm not sure actually here if I'm going to engage. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get ready to engage. We're going to charge past our own lines. Here we go, right into the knights. A lot of Frenchmen coming in, and then take a look at our cavalry just waiting on the side. And now we're going to engage these guys. They're going to move around the flank. Here they go, some catapult shots hitting the ground all around them. Man, I can't wait to see this, like I said, in Medieval 3 with the updated graphics and everything. Especially with the cannonballs, you know, exploding all around there. Or not cannonballs, catapult shots. You here comes a charge into the rear of this French blob, but there's a lot of Frenchmen to chew through. And now here come the French reserves, the cavalry, the general being thrown in. Some of the catapults are actually going to be retargeted onto our own men. Let's watch some of this actually. This knight's going in circles. So there you go, shooting right into this mess, but this kind of is to our advantage because a lot of those shots, you can see they're tearing through a lot of the French troops themselves, so I'm not too worried about this. If it's going to be a mess, I'm going to take the French out with me. But most of our guys are going to be retreating. We have peasants lined up here to intercept once they come in. And we still have a pretty good amount of reserves here that we're going to start and deploy soon. Sherwood archers are going to be moving into position. Meanwhile, over here I shuffled some more archers with more ammo to replace those who ran out of ammo. And we're going to be picking apart the Hungarian forces who pushed through. Like I said, who had the toehold here, we're going to beat them back. They are trying to hammer down our walls, but these are thick, thick walls. And at the base of the towers, we should win this. It looks like I think that's either the general or an officer.
Good tidings. The enemy general lies
Yeah, so that's going to be the third general that we've killed, and I believe the fourth one is going to be right here in front of us. So we are making good progress on kind of destroying and isolating each of these armies piecemeal. And now we're going to try and engage with a bunch of different cavalry units into this archer mess. Hit and run on all sides. Some of the Highland rabble tired, but now they're going to get into the mix with the archers. They should hopefully be able to clean these guys up. A lot more of them. Spear militia charging in. They're kind of paving the way for even more spear militia. Yes, they're tired, but against archers they should be able to hold out pretty well. We have lost, however, the cavalry support, so we'll have to see how that goes. It looks like we may actually lose it, but we're trading relatively well. On the inside, we're focusing on cleaning up the remainder of those guys. And then let's go ahead and watch this engagement here. The French actually were able to beat back our guys, so here comes the combined English and Scottish force retreating towards the safety of our main keep. So the enemies may have beaten us back here, but when they see what they have left to take over, it's going to be pretty disheartening. The Sherwood archers are even trying to get in the mix, trying to hold the Frenchmen back. And there is the fourth general that I was telling you about. So we've killed every single general. I'm not sure we've even lost one of our own. So these are going to be
good tidings. The enemy general lies dead.
Oh, maybe I got that confused. Maybe I got that confused. But anyways, okay, another general died. So there you go. The Sherwood archers holding the enemy forces back while we start to reform. And now we're going to unleash with everything we have up on the walls. Some of my own retreating troops have reformed. The Highland archers are going to be unleashing. I mean, you can't really miss your mark when you're shooting into a blob like this. Highlanders, Gallowways, everyone is going to be reforming, and now here comes some peasants even getting in on the mix. Let's watch some of the Sherwood archers. Mostly hitting the rocks. But yeah, French charging in column formation, probably not the most effective, especially when you are going to expose your flank to some of these generals' bodyguards. So here comes my general, and take a look at what is going to happen here. This is going to be pretty epic. Take a look at all these French units. They're all pretty good morale. I mean, look at this. They're kind of shaken, steady. They seem to be doing pretty well. And now watch how brutal a cavalry charge can be. So they're lining it up, sizing it up. My general is giving the orders. And now here we go. We're going to charge forward. And keep in mind how large this French blob is. Now take a look at this. And look at the morale. Holy crap. We absolutely thrashed as massive a rout as I've ever seen. That is like 200 units right there, all mass routing just because of that little cavalry charge. So devastating. We're going to go ahead and continue to ride that down. My general here can pat his soldiers on the back. They just saved a ton of peasants and other guys over on this side. The English knights are going to be joining us. More guys kind of spewing out of the central plaza where we have even more forces. So this force was never really going to beat us, but you know, it was a pretty spectacular way to get rid of them. Now we're going to be riding through the lines, basically capturing all of these guys. They will fetch us a nice price, especially if we can chase down the French general. So there you go. That is it for the French. Let's go ahead and see who might be left. Looks like it's mostly going to be the Hungarian player who's still kind of alive within the city. He's trying to crack the walls, but at this point you don't really have anyone left to take them. We're going to countercharge up through the guys who remain inside the city walls. It looks like some of the archers made their way through here. We're going to be cutting through these relatively easily. Highlanders are just killing it in this battle. And it looks like the confrontation here, we kind of got rid of most of them. They're going to be making their way, the rest of them peasant archers. Really not much to worry about, but they're going to try and at least get inside the gates. And it looks like because we have no one near the towers, we're actually not going to be able to man them and shoot at these archers. So we're going to have to get someone into position relatively quick. See what's going on over here. It looks like some of the French crossbowmen who tried to come over here were killed.
Like this, we will smash the enemy.
So now we're going to start to pull back from this side of the battlefield. Here comes my general. He's led 2 successful escapades, one over here and the other one in the distance. So very, very well done for the defense of this city. And I can't get over how awesome these cities are. Hopefully we can do some medieval to Teutonic expansion levels, because those cities are awesome. And yep, most of our guys that helped clean up the courtyard here are going to be reforming, and we're going to push on the remaining attackers here. Let's go ahead and fast forward, just because the final fate of this army is not too much in question. I think at this point it's kind of obvious what's going to happen, but let's go ahead and nonetheless wait for their final hour. Forces over here are going to keep pushing up. I sent one of my mailed knights units who's down to 3 men, and he single-handedly slaughtered all of these catapult units, so put a silence to the guns. The rest of these guys escaped up into the siege towers, but they're going to be getting picked off by our archers, and now some incoming Highland archers. Yep, 2 Highland archers. So
the enemy have the walls. Look to our defense, or all is lost.
We will be trading very nicely against these guys, burning them to a crisp. And they should be routing pretty soon. So there you go, that's one force. The other force is going to be over here. We're going to charge up through the gate, across the bodies littered through the entrance, charge with our knights, some peasants, and then actually some of my Highland rabble were chasing units on the outside of the map are going to come back. These guys ended up being extremely cost effective, and now here they come into the rear of the lines. And then here comes my group of 3 mailed knights who were there for the original attack against the Spanish forces who just killed the catapult crew, is going to be coming back into the rear of this force, and he's going to absolutely shatter them with the Highlanders on the other side. So just hammer and anvils everywhere, and I love seeing these Robin Hood-esque units everywhere killing these guys. So a very successful siege. I think our counterattack operations were highly successful in this case. Our opponents were divided, whereas
the enemy
ourselves on the inside could decide to just sally out against one of them at a time, and it was very, very fun. Unfortunate for our opponents who didn't quite expect that. And here you go, you can see the kills on our guys. I kind of want to see the battle statistics list. Who got the most kills on my side? Where are my units? Over here. And I wish I could organize it by casualties inflicted. 95, the mailed knights, so that's got to be the crew that killed the catapults. So yeah, overall they did really, really well. And they took a lot of captives as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. This was a really fun battle. I'm really enjoying these Medieval 2 fights. So let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see in the future. I'm always all ears. So see you in the next one. Peace out.